Yes, yes. This is the show where Ohio throws down, Ohio is on fire. And I am your host, Daniel R. Hood. We are live here this Tuesday, 4 o'clock p.m., my new time released for my last few episodes. Ohio is on fire. And I got a big episode today for you guys. Thank you for listening, for everyone that's listening right now, all 6 billion of you. I got a special guest that's coming up in about 30 minutes from now. NewLeftMedia. They are a political filmmaking group. They make their films on YouTube. They're really popular and they're very interesting. But we will interview them live. Call in at 775-5555 if you want to have a question for them or you want to talk to them. And of course you can hear what they have to say in about 30 minutes. I got a lot of good questions for them. And of course I have OMVP. And I also have my final message at the end of the show. And then I got other random shenanigans, if you will. And I'm waving to my fans. You can't see me, but just take my word for it. And I'll play some good music. At least I think it's good music. But I'm going to let you know all that. But right now, the first thing we do on this show, I need to have a talk with the state of Ohio. A talk with the state of Ohio. Actually, you know what? I need to say hello to the state of Ohio. So my talk was, I changed my segment name, and I forgot. I got to say hello to the state of Ohio. And since today I'm having a political group on, I'm having a political group on today, I got to thinking, some people have asked me if I ever wanted to be in politics. They say that I'm a good speaker, I have good ideas, I'm really smart. Some people have asked me if I could be president one day. They think I could be a president one day, or even a governor. And I got to thinking, gee, Daniel Hood, could I be president one day? Could I be the next president of the United States of America, May 2028? I don't know. I have some pretty interesting ideas. I think to be too radical, but you know what? I thought hard about it, and I just want to. I asked myself to my head, what if I were the president of the United States of America? What if I had a chance to do things the Daniel R. Hood way, the Big Diesel way here in America? So, if I were president, first things first, I would make Pamela Anderson my vice president. Oh yes, Pamela Anderson. And now the other thing I do, you know that giant fountain that is in front of the White House, that big giant fountain that people go to for political events? Well, on either side, I would put a giant chocolate fondue fountain, so people could bring their crackers, their marshmallows. Now when they camp out for these big events, they have something they can eat, that they can get to. It'd be a smash hit, I promise. The chocolate fondue, I would place it there. I'd pay for it personally. Another thing I would do if I were president, I would make Chuck Liddell and George St. Pierre my head of security. No one would get through me if I had those two blocking my way. They were at my very safety. Yeah, one of the two best martial arts fighters in the world, mixed martial arts fighters in the world. I'd have them as head of security. And the other thing I would do, every family that has been kicked out of their homes by these big greedy national banks, they would get a new house for free. I would have a house be built immediately. I'd sign some type of treaty. And these families, these mothers, fathers, and they have a lot of children, and they were uprooted, and it is true, they are being uprooted in some states, but they would get a new house. That would be set forth immediately. They would get a new home. They get to start all over. And then on top of all that, I would have a money draft where all the billionaires in this country, they would give $1 million to every single person that was 18 years and older and who was living below the average income. And that way we would all be rich and we'd be able to rebuild the economy. So that's my idea. And also at the Lincoln Memorial, I would have built a giant nude statue of, you guessed it, Vice President Pamela Anderson. It would be at the entrance gate first, so she would welcome everybody in all her glory. Alright, another thing I would do, I would make June 13th National Clean Day, which is the birthday of President Daniel Hood. I would also make WWSU 106.9 FM Studios a national landmark. And I would make this studio a national landmark because it is the home of the 2010 Active Dayton Radio Station of the Year. So because of that, we should never go away. Pat ourselves on the back. DJs everywhere of this station. And also, I would also encourage the rise of small independent high schools. along with a union for the students, because the teachers, they can go on a strike. I believe the students should go on a strike also, and they should have a choice of going to a new school, and that way they can finally get a decent education. They won't have to fear for their lives every day and worry about these cliques and these backstabbers. We could get a good education that's safe, and we'd be with people that we love. Children would spend more time with their friends and family that they care about. And it's more realistic anyway, because I don't know of a time where you get up at 7 in the morning and you hang out with 18,000 other people that are not anything like you. They're wacky. They're going to make up rumors about you and start all sorts of fights. I don't think that's the real world. So anyway, that's one thing I would do. Also, I would make listening to Kesha illegal. I would also nominate the hot dog eating champion Joey Chestnut and Vice President Pamela Anderson for a Nobel Peace Prize, because they bring along they bring a lot of peace and happiness to this country. And then another thing I would do, I would bring the 2020 Olympics to Cleveland, Ohio, and make freestyle skateboarding a competing sport. So finally, Tony Hawk can win a gold medal. Finally, I would eject Alaska as an American state, and Sarah Palin would become a foreigner. Okay, that's what I would do if I were president of this country. So, wish me luck. Anyway, another big thing that happened in the state of Ohio this week. This past Saturday, Ohio State defeated the Michigan Wolverines 37-7. So Ohio State wins again. Yes, there's a guy. Oh, OhioIO. That's right. I had my only fan. He was cheering. He was out there just now giving me the OhioIO chant. I don't know if he's my only fan. I have 3 fans, so there you go. Anyway, Terrell Pryor had a monster game once again because he seems to own Michigan. And I need to look up the statistics for this. Let's see. Ohio State, I believe they've won 6 straight games now. And like I said, it was all around good game. And also with the Ohio State-Michigan rivalry, when one of those teams win the game, they have a thing called the Golden Pants Award. You win this little small trophy that's the equivalent of Golden Pants. You can't wear it. It's just a trophy. But even though Ohio State won the Golden Pants Award, the Ohio State University President Gordon Gee, I believe he was doing a no pants dance after Boise State lost this past Saturday. Boise State ruined their dream season by losing to Nevada, and I'm really upset about that because Boise State, if you will, they're a really good team. They do deserve national recognition. I'm actually hoping they still go to a BCS game. So anywho, they deserve better. There's some comments about them I clearly disagree with. And Nevada's a good team. Nevada's ranked now. Nevada's like ranked 15th now, so that was no slouch they lost to. But I'll get to more on that in future shows. Just there's a lot of equality. There's a lot of unfairness in college football, if you will. And there's still hope for TCU. They're undefeated. They're still 11-0, and they're ranked number 3. They just need one of the 2 teams to lose, and they will get in. They have their chance now. So the thing we could have Boise State and TCU, that'd been awesome. But we'll never know. But hopefully TCU can get in. That would be huge if a non-conference Power Bowl team can get in. So anyway, but once again, Buckeye fans should be happy this weekend and throughout this week. Now, I hope everyone had a happy Thanksgiving. I want to share with you what I had for Thanksgiving. I shared it with my family, and we had some turkey. We had some, ham, deviled eggs, made some dip. We had Pepsi. We had booze. No, I'm just kidding. We don't drink beer. I'm just kidding. But all other families drank booze. They stuffed their turkey with booze. Yeah, some people do that. I know that sounds strange, but it is true. I've seen it for myself. But enough of that, though. So with that, I guess that's it for my opening segment. And we are back with Ohio's on Fire. I'm your host, Daniel R. Hood, Diesel. Anyway, and it is now time for everyone's favorite segment. I know you've been waiting for this since over 2 weeks ago when I last had my new episode. People have been camping out for Best Buy like in weeks in advance for the Black Friday sale. Well, this is a brand new Black Friday sale. It's everyone's favorite segment. They've been camping out for this probably since June. And they got their torches lit. They're going to burn everyone in front of them and make sure they get to see this segment. I think you know what I'm talking about. It's everyone's favorite. It's OMVP, Ohio's most valuable pedestrian. Theme music alert. Theme music alert. Here we go. Do, 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 do. Theme music, Ohio's on fire. Do, 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 do. Alright, that's enough of that. You know, I tell you what, the Olympics, they are going to come in Cleveland, Ohio in 2020. I don't know that for sure, but I have a gut feeling. Cleveland is pitching a bid. I think they are pitching a bid to get the Olympics. I don't know if it's for 2020, but they better come. I'm pushing for it. Cleveland, Ohio would be a perfect place for the Olympics. It would be the first time the Olympics took place in Ohio. I think that would be great. I would try to go to it. I would really love to see the Olympics in Ohio. But with that, let's get to OMVP. Once again, OMVP, it goes to someone very interesting. They did something unique, weird in a good way, or just made some headline news. They did something noteworthy, if you will. And this is going to a college student that's doing something brave with her life. But like I said, this show is all about giving college students a chance and other people a chance, letting them have a voice, letting opinions be heard, and tell them that there's other things out there. I try to be the alternative. I like to think this woman is doing that in her own personal life, but let me read this article. This is over at, I got this from suntimes.com. But a college student named Catherine Miller, who is 21, she grew up right here in Ohio, and she ranked near the top of her class in more than 1,000 cadets going to her third year over at a college called West Point. West Point, it's a military school, in case you haven't heard of it. Really strict school. One of the a lot of the smartest people in this country go there. But anyway, she had resigned from the U.S. Military Academy in August, and within days became one of the most prominent faces of the debate. Miller said she was hiding in fear at the academy. I realized I wasn't becoming the leader of character that I wanted to be, she said. And the reason why is because she is openly gay. She is a lesbian. And there's strict policies in military academies and the military in general with the no, don't ask, don't tell policy. But anyway, other gay cadets that's in her circle of friends, they talked her out of leaving college, conforming. But after all, as a tenet taught, that is something a tenet is taught in the military. But let me read the rest of this article. I'll try to read as much as I can here. It was definitely an option, Miller said. I just chose not to live my life that way. I'm pretty stubborn in my own values. I need to get out and declare who I was as a person. And after she resigned, some accused her of wasting the military's time and money. Others called her selfish for taking a spot in the academy from someone else. My intentions were honorable, she said. It wasn't to become a gay rights activist, she said. It was something I was forced to think about once I got there. The harshest criticism from her former classmates came after she wore her dress whites while walking the red carpet with Lady Gaga at the MTV Video Music Awards. Well, I didn't know that. I don't know what she looks like, this Catherine Miller, but that's something. She got to be at the at a Video Awards. She felt she was using her uniform to make a political statement. Miller doesn't regret the decision, but she doubts she'll wear her uniform again. At least not until she's back at the academy. She's trying to get back into the academy, she says. I'm not trying to make that difficult when that occurs. And let's see, okay, here's the last four sins of this. There's going to be hostility towards me, and that's inevitable, she said. She started dreaming of going to West Point around the time she turned 16, more than a year before she came to accept that she was homosexual. Even after that, the don't ask, don't tell policy has no more than a passing concern. But something changed when she arrived at West Point 2 years ago. She felt the sting of guilt when every lie that violated the Academy's honor code, she said. For now, Miller is attending Yale University, another tough school, that's me commentating, and taking 3 classes, including U.S. lesbian gay rights history and sexual gender. And those courses are not found at West Point. So that is what the article said. This woman, she's there's a lot of controversy around that subject in this country. It's a big deal in this country, but thing is, she is brave. I do support freedom of speech and choice for people. People, they want to it's a lot of people, they may have to make the hard decisions. She made a personal choice that was really hard, considering that she was in the military in that situation, in the position that she had. So, Catherine Miller, hopefully you're cheering up because you seem bummed. Hopefully your dreams come true. You're doing it, but you are 21. You got your whole life ahead of you. Hopefully the things that you want to do will come true for you as you're living with the lifestyle choice. It's very controversial, and I'm saying that because it is true. I'm not judgmental. That's just that's how it is in a lot of circles in America. I'm just telling you that's just me, folks. I bring entertainment and honesty, but enough about that though. Catherine Miller, cheer up because Christmas is coming up, New Year's is coming up. You're young and pretty looking, I assume. And you got to go to the VMAs with Lady Gaga, which I had no idea. So because of that, Catherine Miller, who was raised in the state of Ohio for most of her life, Ohio went all the way. Catherine Miller, you are OMVP, Ohio's most valuable. Everyone at home say it with me, pedestrian. Once again, theme music alert. Do, do, do. Do, 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 do. Do 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 do. Do 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 do. Oh, look at you should have seen it. Our the school's governor, not governor, I guess he's the student governor, Dan Thomas. He gave me a salute just now, so I salute back to him. Good job to him. So, see, I have more than 3 fans. I've had like 3, actually I've had 3 people stop and mock me, or either mock me or be entertained by what I'm doing. I don't know if that's a good thing or not, but thank you for all the passerbys. Like, if you've never been to the studio, I'll tell you real quick, because I got 2 hours of show. We got a window here. If you've never been to the studio, I'm in a purple room. I've got a lot of these computer equipments. There's 2 computers next to me. It's all nice. We got albums and CDs all around me. Even though I never use them, I always use the computer. We got a nice big window. And the student body, at any time, at any point of the day, like there's 2 nice girls right now. They're passing by here, and they waved. So there you go. That's the life of a DJ here at WWSU 106.9 FM. And we are back with Ohio's on Fire, and I'm here with my this week's special guests. They are a popular political filmmaking group that you see their films on YouTube, and you may have heard of them by now. They are students here at Wright State University, which is the home of this very station. I'm talking about New Left Media. Say hello, everybody.
Hello. Hi.
Yes, I'm with Chase and Eric of New Left Media. Very awesome stuff. So anyway, for those at home that do not know who New Left Media is all about, Chase and Eric, tell them what you guys do. What is New Left Media all about?
Well, we're a small documentary film organization. We sort of got our start during the raucous healthcare town halls surrounding the healthcare debate, covering those and perhaps giving a little more insight into the so-called Tea Party movement than most of the mainstream media was doing. And now we're moving on from that and going to be doing some other pieces, hopefully more substance and less interviews here in the future.
Okay.
Yeah, primarily.
What he said.
Short political videos distributed primarily on the internet.
Yes.
Via YouTube.
Oh, well, there you go. Now, you guys do go. Now, I've seen some of your films. Of course, mostly you go to these big political events, like over in Washington, D.C., right, and throughout the country. You interview people. Do you guys need to get permission to do that? Have you guys gotten in trouble for interviewing people at these events?
Well, you get permission when you just ask, can we interview you? And the camera is present, and they agree to do an on-camera interview, and that's really all the legal permission you need. People don't have to sign papers or anything because you're at a public event and you ask them for permission to film. So that's how we get our permission. No, there's been no problems in that regard, no.
Okay. All right. Now, of all the news media outlets that are out there, like internet, cable TV, a lot of people can get their news. But what do you guys feel personally is the best source of news in all media?
Well, I'll tell you what. One of our big criticisms is just the state of news in general. A lot of people get their news from sources that aren't focused on delivering the nuance or complexities of the issues they're covering, but what they do is they take news stories of import and turn them into frivolous entertainment, oftentimes framing things to be conflict-driven from the left versus the right, when in fact the true debate shouldn't be about the left versus the right, but about these other issues of more substance. So news sources we like, Eric, it's hard. We don't want to give a full endorsement of anything because everything has problems.
We like New York Times.
Yeah.
We like longer sort of periodicals, Harper's, New Yorker.
New York Review of Books. There's
NPR. I listen to NPR a lot.
Yeah, Mother Jones and some other sources. But there's this whole slow food movement, and we joke that there should be a slow news movement. We shouldn't look for news to be breaking news that comes every single day as fast as possible, because that doesn't give journalists time to get their stories right, to get the facts right. It doesn't give readers or watchers of news time to fully understand its issues. So we think people should slow down and read their news more slowly and not click the refresh button on the browser and not...
So from sort of a media criticism standpoint, I think we find that reading your news text
Yes.
better serves
Always
substantive, thoughtful news than does video or audio, actually.
Absolutely. All right. Now, you guys are on YouTube. You guys have a lot of high views for your videos. What do you contribute your success to on YouTube? What do you think you're doing good that's allowing you to get a lot of views?
We actually, it's a complicated question. We think a lot of our success comes because people watch our videos in a way that we don't encourage. They wield them as partisan bludgeonery, and they view them as funny comedy films. And we don't think we make comedies. We think we make horror films, and we find actually sort of depressing to watch. But there's that, and then also I think that a lot of the coverage of the Tea Party movement from mainstream media sources has been so cursory and doesn't really wade into the crowd, doesn't really go in and ask people any sort of questions of substance to find out not just what they think, which we pretty much know because we hear it repeated all the time, but why they think what they think and where they got their information and feelings from.
Yeah, we get some people complaining about the length of our videos at a lengthy 10 minutes, which might be long for YouTube, but certainly isn't long by any other standards. And I think a lot of people appreciate going and being able to watch a 10-minute film about an event instead of a 15-minute news bite between commercials.
Exactly.
Absolutely. Okay, that's a good opinion. Well, I have to ask you, there's a lot of peer groups in this country. They have their say on how things should be done. Is there anyone that you've encountered that you've really been frightened by, like you just really maybe disgusted or just really disagreed with?
Well, we disagree with a lot of people we talk to, no matter which event or which thing we're going to. But our interest isn't so much in getting them on camera and then disagreeing with them on camera. It's just to find out what their beliefs are and then to deliver those to our audience. But to find someone who we think might be sort of scarier to, I don't know. I thought Orly Tate was pretty.
That's what I was thinking.
Orly Tate.
She was pretty out there.
Andrew Breitbart.
Character. Absolutely intimidating character. An interview with him, which is up on our YouTube channel, NewLeftMedia.com, YouTube.com/NewLeftMedia.
Go there.
Yes, please. He's a really gregarious, fascinating character. I'd love to interview him again if I ever got the chance. Obviously very formidable in terms of his eloquence, but scary in terms of his willingness to do things with his own media and do things with his facts, whether it be the Shirley Sherrod scandal or whether it be the Acorn videos. He's incredibly willing, as he says in our interview with him, to edit things for nefarious intentions, and he thinks that's an okay thing to do.
Okay. Now, in a national poll, I want to talk to you about this. People who are getting their political news from online blogs. And, well, to back up a little bit, there was several choices of where people say they got their news from, whether it was cable news or a certain channel like MSNBC or CNN.
Right.
And online blogs was one of the options. And online blogs, they have the lowest intelligence of people that get their news from that source. Right. Does that concern you? Like being that you are an internet performer and you provide your political videos on there, are you concerned that online people, they're not very smart, only get their news from there?
Well, the public at large can access any media source, and whether or not, I don't know that we can determine that people who were reading blogs are actually less intelligent than people who are watching television, but I will say that I don't think that most blogs do a very good job.
Yeah.
I think that most blogs peddle punditry and commentary that is not fact-checked to any reasonable degree, and is the content of those blogs are the whim of the mood of the person who's blogging them.
And while following a blog might give you a good idea of sort of the horse race of politics in this country,
Right.
it doesn't give you any understanding of the historical context about the issues you're discussing or covering.
And so, like, so much of the headlines and things at blogs, like, the headlines will include celebrities. Like, we did a little research thing, because we're working on doing some writing about this exact particular issue, and we pulled all these headlines from the Huffington Post that were all people versus people. It was like Sarah Palin versus Alec Baldwin, Sarah Palin versus... And so there's like this... things get shaped into being like, news about people who are famous and well-known, so that those headlines can have celebrities in them and conflict in them. It gets people to click on them to find out what that conflict is, and it gets the Google search results and tweeting search results up. So there's this false democracy, I think, this false idea of democracy on the internet, that people are sharing news of quality, when in fact people are sharing news of, like, that's most likely to be clicked on, most likely to be shared, and that's not always the news of greatest substance. And in fact, there's I can't think of the acronym for it. My internet acronym knowledge is slim, but it's like TLTR. It's like too long to read. It's this popular thing that people say when you send a link and the article is too long, and they just say, yeah, too long, I didn't read. And so that's a real problem. The stuff that gets shared on the internet is usually brief. We're taking issues and communicating them in 140 characters.
All right.
You absolutely can't do that without turning issues into bumper stickers.
Well said. All right. I got a few more questions before we go to the break. I'll ask you a silly one, line things up. If Joe Biden was made out of strawberries, would you eat him? If he was one big giant strawberry, would you take a bite out of him? Joe Biden, I'm serious.
If Joe Biden
was a giant strawberry, and if you saw him in person,
was this a joke about Chase's comments about how people are using celebrities to make their programs more likable?
Right. Chase Whiteside.
Not really.
The headline will be Chase Whiteside will eat strawberry Joe Biden.
There you go.
I suppose if he were willing to let me eat a part of him and he were made of strawberries, I wouldn't have objection.
Yes, that's what I want to hear. Now, we are Ohio citizens. We're from Ohio.
Yes.
And we have a new governor. He's going to be governor soon.
Right.
John Kakish. What type of job do you think he'll do as governor?
Well, I mean, I don't want to say I can predict the future, but there are certain things that he's announced he's going to do that I think are detrimental to the future of Ohio. He's canceling the rail system that we were going to have here. So we were going to be able to, there's going to be generally high-speed rail. There was complaints about its actual speed, but so that we would have a line between Dayton, Cincinnati, Columbus,
rail line or something.
Cleveland. And it would end up connecting to one to Chicago. So that what would be nice about that is young people could still live here and be able to get around without having to fly places or drive long distance on the highway. So he's getting rid of that. He's also not, in terms of college funding, he's also said some things that are perhaps worrisome, especially here where we're at a university. So John Kasich hates young people.
Oh, wow, I was afraid. Is this why? I don't know much about this guy, and since you guys are deep into politics, how does he hate young people? Do you want to elaborate on that?
Well, no, the way I just said, and I'm kidding. I'm
okay.
Exaggerating. But well, after a strawberry Joe Biden joke, I feel like. But
you had to compete, all right.
So in general, I think that he's just he was elected on a lot of the sort of rhetoric of the National Tea Party rhetoric, this idea that we're going to slash government spending, reject federal stimulus dollars for, which in this case would have gone to the rail project. And when he actually has to put that into play in office, it's going to be very difficult to do. We have an enormous budget deficit projection in Ohio, and by law, constitutional Ohio law, we have to get our budget. We have to get our budget to match up. So when we're going to have the third round of tax decreases that have gone on, the state legislature passed a series of tax decreases here in Ohio, and even though we're having huge budget shortfalls, the third round of those tax cuts are going to happen. So it's fine for him to go and say he's going to cut spending on all of these things, but it's going to be much harder to see where he actually is able to find cuts to spending that aren't going to dismantle the basic functions of government that we need. What we need is to raise taxes, not lower them, and raise taxes on the people who can afford to have those taxes raised.
Wow, okay. Well, I agree with the tax part. And like I said, good luck to him. We don't know what he's going to do yet. It's just a big speculation.
That's
right.
But
I'm glad I asked you. So, okay, my last question before we go to break, and this is a nail biter, I guess, or if you will, but who's going to become president first? A female, a gay man, or a gay female? Or I should say for female, I mean heterosexual, then be gay female. So there's three choices.
Okay. Well, I'd say that we can't be certain that there hasn't been a gay male president, for sure. So, but I also don't want to predict the future. But I would say that in terms of like the upcoming roster of candidates, it's probably more likely we'll have a woman president than a gay president.
We are back with Ohio is on Fire. I'm your host, Daniel R. Hood, and we're about to wrap things up for this week. A quick reminder before I get to my final message. I'll be on next Tuesday from 5 to 6. I'll only be on 1 hour next week. And I will try to make an update more sooner about what I'm doing next week. I got some things planned. I'll announce those. But if you got to visit my websites for the show, you go over to www.myspace.com/OhioIsOnFire or www.twitter.com/OhioIsOnFire and watch all past episodes of my YouTube videos over at www.youtube.com/OhioF, OHIOF. You can see all my past episodes. And good news, the episode I did about 2 weeks ago, which I had DJ Dub, I will upload that this week. I haven't had a chance to. I've been really busy in my personal life. But I am going to get that up, and I'll get this episode up also. Now, a quick reminder. I just want to quick recap what we did with the NewLeftMedia. I was really happy they were here. Some good answers. They had word association. They think Oprah would not be a good president. They think Rush Limbaugh is just entertainment. And what else did they say? They do not want to run for office one day. Although they look smart, I think they could do it, but I guess they're not going to. And they had no one to shout out to, those jerks. I'm just kidding, but they couldn't think of anybody. And, of course, you can visit them over at www.youtube.com/NewLeftMedia. You can watch all their videos. So, once again, they don't care about any entertainer being in politics. That was their issue with Ronald Reagan. So, a little quick recap of what they did. But thank you once again to New Left Media for being here. I appreciate it very much. Hope you have a safe holiday. But with that, it's now time to say goodnight to Ohio. But before I say goodnight to the state of Ohio, I want to talk about high school. I haven't been there in quite some time. I've graduated from there like most of us have. If you're in college, I assume you graduate high school. And I had a strange dream sometime about 2 weeks ago, I guess. 10 days ago maybe. There's this really strange dream about high school. About just being lonely. Just being scared of everything. Like you go to the high school, you see all these people, you get familiar with some of these people, and then you just get really nervous. I don't know why I had that dream, but come to think of it, that's kind of a reality for a lot of people. A lot of people hate going to a lot of high school students, they hate going to high school, and it's for peer reasons, obviously. Like maybe they're in fear of getting made fun of. Maybe they're not accepted to the popular group or even the dork group, whatever groups are out there. And that's the other thing. There's a lot of cliques. Just you have to fit in somewhere somehow. You have to belong, or you're just going to walk alone. And a lot of kids wind up dropping out of high school. That, or they have bad thoughts of high school, or a lot of bad things happen. When you it's combustible whenever you send your kid to a public school like that. And everyone's grown up, they're in their puberty age, everyone's got, their hormones have risen, and everyone has changed. Everyone's developing an ego, everyone's got more complexing thoughts, and saying more interesting language, if you will. They're getting they're young adults, if you will. And things get combustible. A lot of toes get stepped on, and I can see why people would hate going to school. And I bring this up because the dropout rate is fairly high in Ohio. As we are coming to winter break in most schools, we are at winter break here in college. And even in high school, they got 2 weeks left before they got their winter break. And people deal with it. And of course, one of the big academics we've had this year is with teen suicide. And a lot of it comes from the pressures of high school. And it is a real deal. I'm sure most kids whether they want to talk about it or not, they've had their issues in high schools. They hated going. Maybe someone made fun of them real bad, and they're worried about being talked about behind their backs. And I mean, that's just a terrible feeling. My best advice would be that you're going for a lot of heartache if you're having suicidal thoughts, or if you're going through an ordeal where your friend is not really your friend, or your group of friends, like they're not really your friends, if you know what I mean. Or maybe a friend of yours at school is in a bad group situation, like he's in the drugs or alcohol, and you're in a very delicate part of your life, because this is for teens. This message is geared towards teens that is listening. Life can be really hard sometimes. I'm not perfect myself. I've had a lot of hardship. A lot of people I've been disappointed by people I didn't think would disappoint me. And life sucks sometimes. It really does. All I can tell you is to think happy thoughts. It's not worth it in your life. And there are some ways you can counterpoint that. There are good people out there. And college is a little bit better than high school. There's some issues in college also. But for the most part, there are a lot more mature people. There's a little bit of a different world here in college. You deserve to be happy. We are created equal. And we are equal Americans. We need to be happy. I would suggest go see a counselor, like maybe in your high school, or maybe there's a family member that you love very much. Arrange a private time with that family member and talk out your problems. And I also want to suggest more recreation centers. There's not enough of them around here. I know there's the YMCA, and there's I know some church organizations, they try to do that sort of thing, but they preach you religion. If you're into that, that's cool. Maybe some people, not everyone believes in a certain religion, and thus they will not go to a certain religion organization to get peer help. But you do need to talk to somebody if you're being stressed out in school, if your friends have turned on you for no good reason. And to say this, if they're turning on you, your friends are talking crap behind your back, they're not really your friends. I know that's something an old grandma would say, but an old 60-year-old grandma or grandpa would say, they're not really your friends. But it is true. You deserve better. And life is short. You deserve the best that you can. There's a lot of fish in the sea, so go after that good fish. And do not commit suicide. You are worth it. Everyone on earth is worth it. We can change the world together. So with that, I'm going to play a commercial, and right after those commercials is Clint Davis in The Hours of Power. Stay tuned for that. I am Daniel R. Hood. See you next week. Good night, Ohio.